Hello and Assalamu alaikum. This is the second lecture of inventory management, and in this lecture we want to talk about the costs and benefits of holding low levels of inventory as well as the costs and benefits of holding high levels of inventory. So without further ado, let's begin. Now first of all, we will discuss the pros and the cons as we have already discussed before, like the benefits of holding low levels of inventory. Well, the first thing is that the opportunity cost of capital investment in stocks is reduced. Like the warehouses used for stocks could be used for some other productive purposes. So overall, the opportunity cost is reduced. Storage costs are also reduced, as more usable cash is available. Since you are not holding high levels of inventory, your storage cost is reduced, and that means you have more usable cash where you can use for buying stocks. With that, like the cash that was used for buying stocks could be used for some other purposes or invested somewhere else. You can invest it in banks so that you can have a long-term profit or something, or you can use it to buy assets, machineries, or hire new employees, train your employees, or offer them motivational or non-motivational training, offer them like non-financial rewards or financial rewards. There's lots of things that you can do with cash, of course. So it means that you just have more usable cash available for some other purposes. There's a reduced risk of wastage and obsolescence, of course. Like you don't, unlike in having when you have high levels of inventory, that means generally there's a lot of inventory that is left unsold, because of which it's a risk that that inventory might get outdated, especially if it's food items that reach the expiry dates, or technological items that become obsolete, like because of the inventory that those particular items don't have much value now, and you might need to switch to higher, like more advanced machineries. So that risk is also reduced because you're not storing such items in high quantity, if I'm to be more exact. It also allows for easier organization of inventories. So you have small inventories, so you can easily organize them in the business, and there's more space available. So that's all about the pros of having low levels of inventory. Of course, there are some negative cons as well, like the costs. What are the costs that comes with low levels of inventory? Now, of course, buying low levels of inventory, that means that your cost is reduced, but your unit cost overall is high, because low levels of inventory would likely prevent bulk purchasing discounts. So unit costs are relatively higher. Insufficient inventory is all to meet demand, which will likely lead to loss of potential sales. So since you are holding low levels of inventory, that means it will run out pretty soon if demand increases, because of which you won't have sufficient inventory to meet customer orders, customer demands, and it is very likely that it will lead to a loss of potential sales. Now, loss of potential sales does not only mean that your sales are lost. It also means that your brand image is also damaged, and your reputation is also damaged if you're not able to meet customer demands. It also means that there's a loss of customer loyalty if the products are not available when needed. So when the customers come to you for the products, you're not providing them with products, then there will be loss of customer loyalty, and they will probably switch to some other firm. Lack of raw materials can lead to idle production, that is your idle resources, your labor force and capital forces, though all of those are kept idle. So of course you have invested them in them, so that means your production is somewhat halted. So you need to prevent that. Exceptional or new orders may not be met. So as we said that certain increase in demand, or like special orders for customers arrive, but you don't have enough inventory to meet those orders, so that means that you're also losing potential sales. And we will discuss about this point about economies of scale, and good relationships with suppliers are necessary to receive inventory quickly when business is out of stock. So of course, when you are having low levels of inventory, it is very easy, which is like you are more likely to run out of stocks very quickly, and because of which you need to have good relationship with suppliers, so that you can receive your inventory as soon as possible and continue your operations. Don't stop production, because that will lead to idle production. Okay. And similarly, we also have costs and benefits of high levels of inventory. So what are the benefits of high levels of inventory? It is used as buffer inventory against anticipated high demand. So Buffer inventory is basically like a safe inventory, you can say, extra inventory that you keep in case, just in case there's a high demand and you don't run out of stocks, you can still continue your production. So it can be used to respond to seasonal variations in demand as well. So if you hold high levels of inventory, then suddenly your demand increases, you are still continuing your operation, you are still meeting your customer demands and not losing on your potential sales, unlike when you had low levels of inventory. It eliminates or reduces the risk of stock out cost that we just discussed, that you won't miss out on potential sales. It also provides sufficient level of inventory to meet consumer demands. That is that it helps to improve customer service with high levels of product availability. So since you have high level of inventory, that means your products are available all time around generally, and you are meeting your consumer demands. So customer service also improves. It allows to take advantage of bulk purchasing, thereby reducing unit cost. That is, your economies of scale are being availed. You're using economies of scale since you're taking advantage of bulk purchasing. You are making large orders at once, so that that advantage is there. It can also be used to respond to anticipated future increase in prices by suppliers. Like perhaps there might be inflation taking place, and suppliers might increase the prices in the next 1 or 2 months. So you store stocks, you know you buy stocks in advance so that you don't have to pay high prices later on. Okay, and it also reduces transportation costs. So the further away you are from your supplier, then the higher will be transportation costs. So if you are having small if you're holding small levels low levels of inventory, and that means you are having frequent small orders instead of one big order. So if you're having frequent small orders, that means there's more transportation costs as compared to when you have a single or very few bulk orders. Okay, the cost. Now, of course, stocks may become obsolete, like fresh foods reaching expiry dates or technological equipment become outdated. That is, this adds to the wastage cost. High warehousing, storage, and insurance costs to hold high levels of inventory. This is also self-explanatory that, of course, when you are having high levels of inventory, that means you need more space, and with more space, there's cost involved with the warehousing, with storage and insurance of that high level of inventory. Unsold stocks, unsold stocks add to the cost of the business. That is like when you are calculating ratios for financial performance measure, then when current current asset test ratio, and asset when we are calculating asset test ratio, then you also deduct unsold inventory over there. So that leads to a you know your asset test ratio is reduced, because of which your potential your worth in the market might also reduce. So you need to prevent that as well. Cash is tied up with inventory. Opportunity cost, that is like there's a high opportunity cost. So the space could have been used for something productive, or the cash can be invested somewhere else instead of extra stocks. Like as we discussed in low levels inventory, that the extra space could be used for training employees perhaps, or like the extra cash could be used to invest somewhere else for motivating employees, for financial and non-financial motivators, for training them, or buying new assets, improving your machineries, or enhancing them. Okay, there's all sort of things that you can do with cash. So there's a opportunity cost which is tied up with your inventory. So these are the costs and benefits of low and high levels of inventory. So if we still have time, why I think we should discuss about economic order quantity as well. So we've already discussed about the lower levels of inventory and high levels of inventory, but what is the particular quantity of orders? What is the order size that you should have, a business should have? So the perfect order size that business should have is economic order quantity, that the quantity of stocks that need to be reordered which is optimum and carries least cost in terms of stock holding and stock ordering cost. So we'll discuss that. If you have, this is the basic economic order quantity graph, which is shows cost on y-axis and quantity of stock held on x-axis. So as you can see, when your quantity of stock held is increased, that is, you are from low inventory to high inventory. Let's just mark it up over here. Okay, this is low inventory. Okay, and okay, let's just use some different color over here. Yeah, this is high inventory. Okay, so when you have low levels of inventory, then of course, as you can see that your out of stock cost, your out of stock cost is reduced, is increased. Sorry, out of stock cost is over here. So there's a greater chance that you will run out of cost soon and you might not be able to meet potential sales, so that is an additional cost. So that cost is high, but your stock holding cost is reduced because you don't need to hold up high levels of stock, right? Similarly, but if you have high levels of stock, it would be the opposite case. Like your out of stock cost is reduced because you are able to meet your consumer demands, but your stock holding cost increases because you need more space. So overall, this is the total cost that adds up. Okay, when you add up the stock holding cost and your out of stock or cost, and this is the total cost. So that's the basic graph. Like, of course, it might not be true, but it's a general graph for economic order quantity. So when we look at total cost, it's something like a curve, a quadratic curve, and it goes slope and it stops at this, the when the total cost is the least, that is your stock holding cost and out of stock cost are kept to a minimum. Both are kept to a minimum, like both are kept at an optimum level such that your total cost is reduced, such that your total cost is kept to a minimum level. This is the optimum level of stocks that should be ordered. Like, this is the level of stocks that should be ordered. Okay, this particular stock, this is this level. Okay, never mind. Okay, let me use this here. This is the perfect quantity order size that should be there when you are ordering stock. So this is the, what is this? This is the perfect size of order size perhaps. So economic order quantity is the quantity of stocks to be ordered which is optimum and carries least cost in terms of stock holding and stock ordering cost. So stock holding cost and out of stock cost, both are somewhat kept to an optimum level such that your total cost is kept to a minimum level. So I've already written it down over here that if the order size is low, that is 200 units for example, then the business might need few storage for holding stocks and there's less chance of obsolescence. These are the benefits we've discussed about low levels of inventory. However, the business won't be able to achieve any economies of scale, so unit cost will be high. There's also greater risk of business running out of stocks, thereby losing potential sales. So these were the costs of low levels of inventory. So the same thing applies over here as well when you're ordering stocks. So if the order size is high, that is for example 5,000 units, then the business might be able to avail economies of scale, lowering its unit cost. It also implies that it will be able to easily meet customer orders, increasing customer loyalty. So these were the benefits of high level of inventory. However, the storage cost will increase as greater storage facility is required to hold high levels of inventory. Also, there is a greater risk of obsolescence. These were the cost of high level of inventory, holding high levels of inventory. So those things are basically put over here when we are, both factors need to be considered when you are ordering stocks. What is the perfect order size? What is the optimum order size? So the optimum order size is known as economic order quantity, where your stock holding and out of stock costs are balanced somewhat so that your total cost is kept to a minimum level. Okay, so that's all for today and thanks for watching. Allah Hafiz.